This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi. We're learning Sefer Zecharia from the Treyasar, Parak Hey, Pasuk Aleph. Zecharia has another vision. Va'ashuv, and then I lifted my eyes, va'era, and I saw, V'hine Megillah Afa. Now we know what the word Megillah means, but what does the word Afa mean? Says Targum Yonason, the Megillah Pircha, a flying scroll. It was a flying Megillah across the sky. What kind of Megillah is this? So Rashi explains the explanation of the Targum. Again, that's the explanation of the Targum. The Saves was the Kafes Eine, Bachazes Faha Megillah Pircha. Now, Targum on Nevi'im is none other than Targum Yonasan ben Uziel. That is absolute. It's a Gemara Megillah. Targum Shal Nevi'im, Yonasan ben Uziel wrote. Targum on the Chumash is Targum Unklis, and then there are two Targumim besides Unklis. There's Targum Yerushalmi, and Targum Yonasan ben Uziel on Chumash is not Yonasan ben Uziel. It's another version of Targum Yerushalmi. The only Targum Yonasan ben Uziel there is on Nevi'im, like the Gemara says in Megillah. That's how, and Rashi adds, at the end of the Rashi, V'yonasan tirgem milgilta porcha, flying Megillah, poirechas v'avir, flying in the air. What kind of Megillah is this? Rashi says, L'fi pshuta shel Parsha Megillah's Paranos. It was a Megillah of punishment. V'hu shara b'kas ve'leha kinim v'haga v'hei. In other words, this is a scroll of impending doom. Okay. However, Rashi brings down the pshat of the Gemara in Eruvin. The Gemara in Eruvin says on Chaf Aleph, Amud Aleph, that this is none other than a Megillah of the Torah. Which Torah? Not Torah Shebachsav, but rather a Megillah that contained the entirety of Torah Shebal Peh. If you look in Rashi, Megillah Afa, Rabbi Seinu Pirshu, Kafula was doubled. Ba'amru, and they said, Shah Torah Ksubaba. The Torah was written on it. V'lamdu mikan, and Chazal learned from here, Sheha'olam echad migimel alafim u'masayim b'Torah, that the world is 1/320th of the Torah. Well, this is very interesting, because if you actually look in the Gemara in Eruvin, the Gemara said that if you look in Sefer Tehillim, David HaMelech talks about how big the Torah is. David says, L'chol tichla Ra'isi Kates Rechava Mitzvascha Ma'id. Every item, no matter how great it is, no matter how vast it is, it has an end. But Rechava Mitzvascha Ma'id, your Torah, your mitzvahs are very big. I can't see an end. But David did not quantify how big it is. Comes Eov, and Eov says, Arucha me'eretz mida urechava mineyam. It's longer than the land, it's wider than the sea. But still he didn't say how big. Until Zecharia came along, and the Navi Zecharia said in Pasuk Beis, Vayomer Elai, he said to me, Ma taroya, what do you see? Vayomer, I said, Ani roya Megillah Afa, I see a folded scroll. It's another pshat, a folded scroll. Arka Esrim Ma'ama, 20 amos long, V'rachva Eser Ba'ama, and 10 amos wide. 20 by 10. Well, if you have a document that's 20 by 10 and it's folded over, and you open it up, how big will the document be?
Folded up, it was 20 by 10?
Yeah.
So it's going to be 40 by 10.
Or it will be 20 by 20. Right? 20, either way, same thing. Right? 20 by 10 becomes 20 by 20. So says the Gemara, what do we see from here? That how big of a scroll do you need to write down Torah Shebal Peh? 20 amos by 20 amos. How many square feet is that? 400 square amos?
4 square amos.
400 square amos. That's quite big according to Chazon Ish. 800 square feet. That's how big of a document you need to contain all of Torah Shebal Peh. Comes the Vilna Gaon. This is unbelievable. One of the most astounding things I ever heard. Comes the Gaon, and he says, now we understand. Miyom shechara beis hamikdash ein lo el hakadosh baruch hu ela Dalit Amos shel halacha bavad. From the day the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, all God has is 4 cubits of halacha. What's the significance of 4 cubits of halacha? We always tend to think it means the only thing left in this world. We don't have Kohen Gadol, we don't have Urim B'Tumim, we don't have an Aron, we don't have a Mikdash, we don't have Nevi'im. But we have, you could sit and learn with your Sefer and your Dalit Amos. Says the Gra, you don't need Dalit Amos to learn unless you've been drinking the 20-ounce sodas, which are illegal, for many, many days in a row. You're not going to need Dalit Amos. Nobody's 8 feet wide. So says the guy, this is literal 8 feet, 4 Amos. Why? Because the Gemara says in Masechta Chagiga the following, and I'm going to go off on a tangent for a minute before I tell you what the Gemara says in Chagiga. The first Mishnah in Psachim. What does the Mishnah say in Psachim? Does anybody remember?
Arlia was a Bodkin as a Chametz.
Or Larba Asar. Bodkin as a Chametz. La'araner. Yeah? Remember that?
Yeah.
Kol makom shein machnisim by chametz ein tzarich b'dika. Uvama amru beishurais b'martev. So regarding where did they say you only have to check 2 rows? What do you mean? What? Huh? Who said anything about checking 2 rows of a cellar? We didn't say a word about a cellar, right? The Mishnah says right? Kol makom shein machnisim by chametz ein tzarich b'dika. Uvama Amru, so then regarding what did they say you have to check 2 rows? Vama Amru Beishurais b'martev. Nobody ever said a word about a martev. What is a martev? I don't even know what a martev is. So it looks like something's missing in the Mishnah.
You often find that.
Right? What do you mean Uvama Amru? So one thing, sometimes a line is missing, but here we're introducing a concept and we're asking, so regarding what did we say this halacha, as if we've been talking about it. So comes the Shlach Kadosh. And comes the Beis Yosef. Maran Bet Yosef wrote a work on Klalei Hashas, and the name of the work is called Klalei HaGemara. And they bring down from one of the Rishonim the Sefer HaKrisais, based on the Gemara in Chagiga. The Gemara in Chagiga says, we're learning Chagiga, but we learned this a little bit ago, that even though Bizman Hazeh we have how many Sidarim of Mishnah? 6 Sidarim of Mishnah. Once upon a time, says the Gemara, 600 Sidarim of Mishnah. And the Beni Hayyad even writes, that's why, what's the crown of Klal Yisrael? Torah Sheba'al Peh. That's why on our crown, on our tefillin, we have 2 shins, 300, 600. So says, right? So says the Shla, and says the Beis Yosef. Now we understand the Mishnah in Psachim. In the old version of the Mishnah was much, much, much longer. It was 100 times longer than it is now. And there was a whole discussion about checking a martev, not checking a martev. But our concise version we left out, and it just says Uvama Amru Beishurais b'martev. Says the Vilna Gaon. So it comes out that it used to be, how much bigger was the Torah back then than it is now? It used to be 600 Sidarim. Now it's only 6. So it was 100 times the size that it is now. So if the Navi Zecharia says that to contain Kol HaTorah Kulo you need 400 square amos, but now that the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed, Ein Loi LaHakadosh Baruch Hu Ela Dalid Amos Shel Halacha Bavad. That's how much space you need to occupy to write down the Shisha Siddur Mishnah. That was we once discussed that topic, right?
So that would be pretty difficult. I mean, you take 8 by 8, it's 64 square feet, right? 4 amos square, it would be 64. If it's 2 feet, it's 8 by 8 is 64.
Right.
64
8 square feet.
You can put all Shishi Siddur Mishnah. That's it. You have to write like
the microfilm,
what do they call it? Micro.
Yeah, something like that.
Make pictures with that.
So that's the Indian of the scroll over here. That the scroll was 20 amos by 10 amos, but it was a folded scroll, and it was really 20 by 20. Okay.
Rabbi, if it's Torah Shabbat, which is one
Torah Sheba'al Peh.
Did you say one of them was its Torah Shabbat?
No, it was just a flying scroll of impending punishment. Right? That was the first pshat. That was the pshat of Targum Yonasan. Okay. Vayomer Eli, the Malach said to me, Zois ha'ala, this scroll, this is going according to the simple pshat, that it was a scroll of Puranos, Zois ha'ala, this is the curse. Hayoitzeis al pnei chol haaretz, that goes out on the face of the earth. Ki kol hagoynev, anyone who robs, mizeh kamay hanika. Until now, if you did something like that, you would have been off the hook. V'chol hanishban, anyone who swore falsely, mizeh, like this, kamay hanika, would have been cut off, would have been absolved. That's what would have been in the past. But now, this scroll of impending punishment is predicting that Rebbe Shalom will not let anyone get away with it anymore. Rashi says, Zois ha'ala, Zois shekasav ba'paranos, this, that it's written, the punishment, nikmas shvua sheker, the revenge for those who swear falsely. Now, we know that swearing falsely is considered one of the most grave transgression. That even though that punishment for sin is suspended 2 or 3 generations, but nevertheless for shvua sheker, the Rebbe Shalom does not postpone it at all. Right, like Chazal say that when Hashem said Lo Sisa, the whole world was nizdazeah, the whole world trembled. So in the past, Rebbe Shalom, so to speak, dealt with it more leniently. But now, where is this scroll coming from? Hayoitzeis. Now I want to tell you something very interesting. How big was the scroll?
40 by...
right, but it was folded up, right? It was
20 by 10 or 20 by 20.
It was but how big was it before it was...
20 by 10.
It was 20 by 10. 20 by 10, that is the exact dimensions of the entrance of the Mishkan, of the Mikdash, 20 by 10. If you look in the Ibn Ezra says, in Pasuk Beis, Ra ki ilu zois ha-megillah yoitza mi beis Hashem shabana shlomo al ha'ulam al kein midas ha'oirech v'haroichev k'may ha'ulam. That's why the size of the scroll was 20 by 10, the size of the ulam. So it fit perfectly out of the ulam. But now Rashi is telling us that the dimensions had another significance at all as well. Hayotzis ata mi beis kodesh hakadashim. This scroll is emanating from the kodesh hakadashim. Milafnei hashchina, from before the shchina, lehesalech al pnei kol aretz, to go out on the face of the earth. V'zehu arka esrim, that's why it was 20 amos long. V'rachva eser. Kemidas Pesach HaZara v'ha'heichal asher yatzas derech sham. The measurement of the entrance of the Hazara and the Heichal. So says Rashi, anyone who stole ad achshav was absolved. Mizeh kamayanika, mizeh ha'paranos, kamayishu mefurish ba nakei v'loy nishtam paranos yichidim ha'ivrim ha'Torah elahimtin ad shen nismalei sas kulam.
It wasn't retroactive.
In other words, until now, the Rebbe Shalom did not deal with the individual severely. He waited until all the individual sin accumulated and the full was complete, and only then Hashem punished. But now, it's not going to be like that anymore. V'chein kol hanishba l'sheker, until now, the Rebbe Shalom was menake. But mekan ve'elach, Rebbe Shalom is sending out the punishment to punish immediately. Okay. Pasuk Daled. Hoitzei siha, says God, I am taking it out. I'm bringing it out. I've taken the curse out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Ne'om Hashem Tzvaka. Says God, Master of Legions. Uba el beis haganov. It will now come into the house of the Ganov. V'el beis hanishba b'shmil hashakar, into the house of those who swear my name falsely. V'loneh b'soich beisoi, and it will lodge in his house. In other words, it will actually start out from the house of someone who steals, but it will make permanent lodging in the house of the one who swears falsely. That's the main punishment.
The Geneva is so harsh.
Geneva is harsh, sure. And
according to what he's just saying.
But swearing falsely is even more harsh. Yeah. The lana b'tach beisai v'chilatu. It will destroy him. V'yaseitzav, his wood, v'yasavanav, and his stones.
Is something worse than Geneva? I mean, I don't not compare.
Is in what?
An Avera, Geneva is a Avera, but there are worse Averas than that. Gilarois or
Yeah. But this is what they were doing. These were the averos that they were doing. These specifically. Now the Medrash, the Gemara in Shvuah says, even the stones of one's house, which fire can't destroy, which water can't destroy, the yaver of loisisa shem hashav could destroy the edifice of one's house. Okay. Vayetze hamalach hadoy Rabbi. Then the malach who was speaking to me went forth. Vayomer Elai said to me, Sana einecha, lift up your eyes, and see ma hayotzes hazois. What's coming out? What's going on? What do you see now? The malach said, what do you see now? Another vision. Rashi says, Oid yotzes acheres shetetze mi beis kodesh hakdashim. There was something else emanating out of the kodesh hakdashim. Va'oimar, and I said, Mahi, what is it? Vayomer, and the malach says, Zois ha'efa hayotzes. This is the ephah that is emanating. What is an ephah? An ephah is a measurement. How big of a measurement? So when I was in 7th grade, I had a Rabbi Milstein, and he taught the following, and it's very good to remember. If you know this, and I think we once spoke it out here a few times. You should write it down. Blaksa 6463. Got it? Blaksa 6463. Beis Lamed Kuf Samach Aleph 6463. Blaksa 6463. Goes like this. Beis 6, Lamed 4, Kuf 6, Samach 3, Aleph. Blaksa 6463. There's 6 Bayim in a lug. There are 4 lug in a kav. There are 6 kav in a sa. There are 3 sa in an ephah.
6.
Beis Lamed Kuf Samach Aleph 6463. So there's 6 beya in a lug, there are 4 lug in a kav, there's 6 kav in a sa, there are 3 sa in an ephah. So how many eggs are in an ephah? 6 times 4 times 6 times 3. So 6 times 4
24
times 6
144
times 3
432.
432.
Was the man was in there?
Man was asiras ha'ephah, so 43.2 eggs.
1/10.
1/10 asiras ha'ephah, which is I think the shir chala. No. Gematria chala, right? Gematria chala. Sort of, right. Gematria chala.
43.
Because, right. Mm-hmm.
Is there any coincidence, Rabbi? It's just that when we talked before, well, Erev in Megillah Ephah, and here we have now Ephah, except the other Ephah was with an ayin, and this Ephah is with an aleph, but it's the same Ephah.
Also, there was Afa.
Ephah, all right. See, you could say Ephah, you just change the gears a little bit, right? But very similar.
Okay. So an ephah is a measurement, right? So this measuring cup is coming out of the Kodesh HaKodashim, and the Malach says this is the measuring cup. Vayomer, and he says Zois Einam, this is their eyes, b'chal haaretz, against the whole earth. What does this mean? Vayomer Mahi, says Rashi, Hayotzes, what's going out? Shetomar alai luris, that you asked me to see. Vayomer Zois ha'efa, Shetira yotzes kamin efa shemoididin ba. You're going to see a measuring cup the size of an ephah. Vayomer Zois Einam b'chal haaretz. After you see this, this is going to be the measurement with which are punished those whose eyes are against the whole world, ligzal, v'lashoik, to oppress, to steal, lahakdin, ephah, to minimize the ephah, ulahagdil, shekel, and to magnify the shekel, v'nimdad lahem sa b'sa. In other words, people who fool around with the scales, they distort the measurement of the ephah. That's terrible, Geneva, right? You have to have hin tzedek, avnei tzedek, true. So in other words, this ephah is a measuring cup that's going to be meted out of punishment to those who were ganovim. Okay, so that's the first vision. He sees this big cup of einam b'chol haaretz. The way Rashi learns, it's because of their greedy eyes that went out against everybody. Next vision. V'hine kikar oiferes nises. What's a kikar? Kikar is a measurement.
What?
Baseres alafim. Right? Haman needed aseres alfe kikar kesef. Kikar is a talent. It's a measurement. Okay?
What is the word plane? If plane isn't a kikar, is that spelled differently?
Oh, that's a different word. Is it spelled differently? I'm not sure. But here it refers to a measurement. Oiferes is of lead. A kikar is a very large measurement. A measurement of lead, nises, was being carried. It was being lifted. And who's inside the measuring cup? V'zois isha achas. And there was this one woman, Yosheves b'soicha efa, in the measuring cup. So again, the vision is there's a lady inside the measuring cup and a talent of lead, like the anvil, like the heaviest thing in the world. Who's this lady? Vayomer, the Malach said, Zois Harisha. A lady represents Rishas.
So,
and he threw her El Toichaifa into the measuring cup. So he took the lady, the Malach took the woman. The woman represents Rishus, and he threw her into the measuring cup. And then he took the lead and he crushed her. Vayashlech es even ha'oiferes el pia. He threw the lead stone on her mouth. This prophecy is not for a general audience. Okay.
you should take a look. I was going to ask you a question.
Sure, shut
Maybe
the video.
shut the tape. I'm going to ask you a question. Why is it, if this is for women's lips, why is he picking on the woman? Why is he defining it as a woman, not a man? In the dream.
Well, let's see first. Well, why are we depicting it as one? Okay. So first let's get the picture over here. We see a measuring cup. And in the measuring, after the measuring cup is a... And now the measuring cup represents the punishment that's going to befall the people who are dishonest. And then there's this huge piece of lead. And then there's a lady, and she's sitting in the measuring cup. And he takes her, and he knocks her down into the measuring cup. And then he throws the lead. This is not one of the better known prophecies in the Tanakh. Okay? But there are three things. There's a measuring cup, there's a woman, and there's a lead ton.
And the woman represents Rishas.
Yeah, that's what it says.
So to emphasize that.
Okay. By the way, there's why does Nekeva? Okay, let's see Rashi first. Rashi says, I saw being lifted from the ground into the air, mishkal kikar oiferes, a weight of a talent of lead. I saw a woman, Rashi says, in the measuring cup. This woman that you see in the measuring cup, he midas derech harisha, is the measurement of the path of wickedness asher yinagu b'harisham, that the Risham have accustomed themselves. Now they are put on it, in it. In other words, a person is punished in the Aveira itself. The Aveira itself is what punishes the person. Now, at first the woman was just sitting in the cup, and the Malach comes and knocks her over. Okay? And he knocks her out. That's a remez to Yisurim, and then he throws the ton of lead on her face, so that nobody should hear her voice anymore.
Could you just explain for a minute? First it says that Yosheves b'socheva, she's sitting
in the cup.
And then he says, Vayashlech hosa el tocha efa.
He threw her down.
She's already in the cup.
Yeah, but she was sitting. Now she's knocked out. Right?
Pushes her while she's in the
He
cup,
knocks her down.
down.
He knocks her down.
And then he throws the anvil.
Right.
In other words, within the very object that the Rishon commit the sin, which is the faulty measures, the Rishon are punished. Like the Pasuk says in Mishlei, Megoiras Rasha Tivayehu, that reward is infinite. Why is reward for a mitzvah infinite? Because the Rebbeinu Shalom himself gives the reward. But punishment is finite, because punishment comes from the Avera, and the Avera is a human creation, and therefore the punishment is finite. Now, what exactly is going on over here?
We have to...
One second, what is going on?
Say, why is Risha represented by a woman?
Now the Radak says, who is this woman? This woman represents the Aseres Hashvatim, the 10 tribes. Says Radak Hazois, Lami Hoisa Zois Hoisha via Aseres Hashvatim, which was in another kingdom, and they did evil, but still we don't know why it's called Isha. So for this we have to look at a Gemara in Sanhedrin Samach Dalet Amud Beis, and a Gemara in Yuma and Samach Tes. The Gemara says, and maybe we'll have an understanding. Now, in general, look, the Sefer Tashbetz brings down that Zachar is Gematria Bracha, and Akeva is Gematria Klala. That's what is brought down in the Sefer of the Rishonim. So you want to know why it's referred to this way? It's just a mashal. But the Gemara says in Masechta Sanhedrin the following. It says on Samach Daled in Masechta Sanhedrin, says the Gemara, let's just do one more pasuk.
By the way, the Gematria of Russia is 770, and not implying anything.
Okay, let's see. The Gemara says like this. The Gemara says, Tashma. It's a pasuk in Nehemiah. Vayizaku b'kol gadol al Hashem l'keim. They cried out with a great voice to Hashem. There's a pasuk in Nehemiah talking about a prayer of the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah. Yeah? My Amar. What were they crying out? Amar Rav Yehuda v'Yitem Rav Yonasan. They cried out like this. Baye baye. Whoa whoa. Hainu da'achruvei lebeisa. This is what destroyed the Beis Hamikdash. V'kalya lehechla, and burned down the Heichal. V'kalinu l'tzadike, and killed all the tzadikim. V'aglinu liyisomei harayu, and caused the Jews to be exiled from their land. V'adayinu marakid beinon, and it's still among us. Klom yehavite lan. The only reason you gave it to us, God, is l'kabuli be'igra, to get reward. Lo iyu ba'inon, we don't want it. V'lo agri ba'inon, we don't want the reward. What's this referring to? The desire for Avodah Zarah. That the Anshe Knesset Hagdolah saw that the first Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of primarily Avodah Zarah, and therefore they said, Rebbeinu Shalom, the only reason you gave us the desire for Avodah Zarah is to be tempted and to get reward. Lo hu v'lo schare, we don't want it, we don't want the reward. Basar da'avikube, after they fasted, basar da'avikube yasvi tlasa yomei betanisa, they fasted for 3 days. Boi rachame, they asked for mercy. Nafalahu piska merakia, a document fell down from heaven. What was said on the document? To have a ksivba MS. A little piece of paper came down from heaven, said on it MS. From there they said Shema Mina Chaysamay Shal HaKadosh Baruch Hu MS. Hashem showed them that their tefillah was answered. Nafak Kegoria Denura Mides Kodesh HaKadoshim. A small a lion cub of fire emanated from the Kodesh HaKadoshim. What did that indicate? That indicate that the Yetzirah for Avodah Zarah has been vanished, has been banished, has dissipated. Why lion? Why a lion? Well, it's a powerful Avodah Zarah. And specifically, we know the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed in what month? the month of Av, and the mazel of Chodesh Av. Arius is a lion, so it's demonstrating that this is what destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, not only the first time, but even the second time as well. Even though the Gemara says because of Sinas Chinam, but ultimately it came back to the Avodah Zarah. Amar Lahu Navi Yisrael, Hainu Yitzad Avodah Zarah. Now, the Avodah Zarah is emanating, it's leaving, meaning it's being powerless. And now the Anshe Knaz has to trap it. So the Gemara says they were running after this fiery cub with their nets. Says the Gemara, the Hadi de Katafsile, it caught it. Ishtamit b'nisa minei. One hair got out. I mean, they got it, but as the lion was running, like a hair fell out. By the way, that hair, as the Gemara says in Sukkah, that the Yetzirah seems like it's so small, only like one hair. So you say that's the hair that fell out of the lion. Va'azal kolei ba'arba mea parsi. The lion gave out such a geshrai, it cried out. It went 400 parsa. So the Chacham were nervous. Maybe God's going to have mercy on it because it's crying out. Amru heichi navid. What should we do? Dilma mishmaya merachmei alei. Maybe Hashem will have mercy on it. Amar lei navi. You know what you do? You gotta shut its mouth. How are you going to do that? Shajiu beduda de ivra. Put it in a lead pot. The kisua beivra, and cover it with the lead cover. The shayif kale, because lead absorbs sound. And where in the Tanakh does it say to take the Yetzirah of Avodah Zarah and put in a lead pot? The pasuk we just learned. Parakeh, pasuk, test. This risha, this wickedness that they saw coming out of the Kodesh HaKadoshim, it was none other than the fiery cub of the Yetzirah for Avodah Zarah. And what did they do with it? They trapped it. They trapped it in a lead cauldron, and they covered it with a lead cover, and they put lead on its mouth. So somewhere there's some lead pot with a lead cover, and some little lion screaming its head off. Nobody could hear a word it's saying because it's in lead. It says Gemara, Hainu Dasiv, Vayomer Zois Harisha, Vayashlech Hoisel Toicha Efa, Vayashlech Esoeven Hoiferes Al Piha. So I'm going to tell you a chiddush now. Now we understand that what represented in the Tanakh, it's not called a lion cub. In the Tanakh, what's sitting in that pot? A woman! That's the pshat. There's a chiddush. Chazal say the only reason people want to serve Avodah Zarah is because they have a taiva for znus. Because people realize that if they believe in God, God is all-seeing, all-knowing, they can never give in to temptation for znus. But once they believe in Avodah Zarah, which is completely nonsensical, why? Loi, right? Klal Yisrael, Chazal say, the only reason Klal Loi Nechmedu Yisrael Lebal Pa'ar, the only reason they wanted to serve Avodah Zarah is only to be mezana with the Bnei Smayav. The underlying cheshek for Avodah Zarah is the cheshek of Arayos. So yeah, the Gemara says it was Avodah Zarah, it was the Yetzirah for Avodah Zarah. But the words of the Psukim are saying the shoyresh of that cheshek was there was an Isha inside. And that's the way with all the world religions. It says in Tanakh, it says in Tehillim, Kamoyhem Yiyu Oiseyem. Whatever your God is, that's what you're like. Right? All the religions of the world, who do they believe in? They believe in a mamzer. They know that mamzer, God didn't come to live with his mother. There's no such thing. Nishka shtoibin, nishka floigin. Everybody knows she was mazana. So when your God is the product of arayos, so then the world is rampant with arayos. Why do they believe in a mamzer? Because that's the kind of lifestyle they want to lead. But we believe in kel chai tzureinu, and that's what we say in davening every day. Lehishtabeach b'silasecha. We're not praising Hashem. Lehishtabeach, lashon nispoel. We believe in Hashem kel racham mechanon. And the more we praise Hashem, the more we ourselves are becoming greater. Because, Kemoyem Yu Oisem, Josephus writes, the Egyptians worshipped the asp, and the crocodile, right? Different kinds of the snake and the crocodile, and Josephus says that their personalities became like the asp and the crocodile. You become what you worship. And the nations of the world, they don't really believe in what they claim they believe. It's only a pretext for the Isha sitting inside of the lead cauldron, and that's maybe why the Gemara continues. Once Chazal saw they were on a roll, they said once we're Mavatal the Yitzhahara for Avodah Zarah, while we're at it, let's be Mavatal Yitzhahara for Zanos as well. And the Gemara says the world couldn't really last too long, but that's the secret of the Isha inside of the lead pot. Rabbi Isai, have a great day.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.